Hey guys, it's Adrian here, the Canadian in a t-shirt, and today I'll be breaking down exactly how to buy stocks, and I'll be doing a step-by-step walkthrough of how to buy stocks and ETFs using Questrade. In this video, I just want to focus on the actual process of placing a trade through an online broker like Questrade. To learn more about investing itself and how to pick good companies to invest in, check out my past videos in my Millennial Investing Guide, especially my video on the stock market, my video on ETFs, and my top 3 dividend stocks in Canada. So click the pop-up in the top right to check out those videos first. So how do we actually buy stocks in the stock market? When people hear the stock market, they probably think of stockbrokers on Wall Street, or they believe in the myth that banks have been telling them for decades that the stock market is too complicated and that you should leave it to the experts. That's just a way to intimidate people into buying mutual funds, and that's how banks make their money, by charging you these ridiculous management fees for their expertise. But the truth is, anyone can invest in the stock market, and I promise you, it is not complicated. Buying stocks online is about as easy as buying something on Amazon or checking your bank account online. You do not need a Wall Street stockbroker or your bank's financial advisor to buy stocks. You can buy stocks from the comfort of your own home and at a fraction of the price by using an online broker. An online broker, also known as a discount broker, is a website which allows you to buy and sell securities like stocks, bonds, and ETFs with a click of a button. If you want to buy TD stock, for example, you don't need to call an existing TD investor and convince them to sell their stock to you. Instead, you use an online broker where thousands of people are buying and selling stocks every single second. You see the live price that people are selling their TD stock for, and you can choose to buy it. The online broker handles this transaction. There are a lot of online brokers out there, and most of the big banks offer their own versions of online brokers, but they usually come with higher fees. Some of the most popular online brokers in Canada are TD Direct Investing, Scotia iTrade, Qtrade, RBC Direct Investing, and the new Wealthsimple Trade mobile app. Most of these brokers have really high fees, and the ones that don't, like Wealthsimple, have some severe restrictions. I'll be reviewing some of these brokers very soon, but for today, I want to focus on my overall favorite online broker, and that's Questrade. Questrade was one of the first online brokers in Canada, and they've built their reputation on offering absolute rock bottom prices for their services. I've mentioned Questrade a bunch of times in my past videos, and the reason why I love them so much is because of their super low commission fees. A commission fee is a one-time fee you pay to your broker whenever you buy or sell a stock or another security. Think of it as a transaction fee. Most of the brokers I mentioned earlier charge you a $10 fee whenever you buy or sell anything. But Questrade only charges you a $5 fee whenever you buy or sell stocks, and even better, they charge you no fee when you buy ETFs. This makes a huge difference, especially when you're investing in smaller amounts, less than $1,000. Questrade's commission is priced at 1 cent per share, with a minimum of $4.95 and a maximum of $9.95. If you buy 500 shares or less, you'll only pay $5 commission. If you buy 1,000 shares or more, you'll pay $10 commission. For most people, you'll only ever be charged $5 commission on stocks. And that's because 500 shares of any company is a lot of money, usually in the tens of thousands. So basically, if you're investing between $500 and $5,000 at a time, you'll only be charged $5 commission when you buy stocks. When buying stocks through Questrade, I wouldn't recommend buying any less than $500 at a time. Even if you only buy one single share for $100, let's say, you'll still be charged that $5 commission. So right off the bat, you've already lost 5% of your initial investment. But if you invested $500, you're charged that same $5 commission, but that's only 1% of your investment, and you can easily make up for that in a few weeks. But the beautiful thing about Questrade is that they do not charge commission when you buy ETFs. So even if you only have $20, you can still buy a single share of an ETF, and it won't cost you any fees. That's why I like to buy stocks in bulk at first, and then whatever remaining cash I have, I buy ETFs. And you'll see that in my walkthrough coming right up. If you'd like to get started with Questrade, click my referral link in the description box below, and you'll get $50 in commission-free trades when you sign up. That basically means that your first 10 stock trades will be commission-free, and that saves you $50. Plus, I'll get a small referral bonus as well. I'll do a full review of Questrade very soon, but now let's jump into a step-by-step walkthrough of how to buy stocks and ETFs using Questrade. So we start at the Questrade homepage, we click on the login button, we enter our credentials, and it takes us to the landing page where it shows me a summary of all my accounts. You can see here I have a TFSA account and an RRSP account. There are a lot of really cool features you can do on Questrade. If you hover over to the Reports tab, you can see account activity, which is essentially a history of all your transactions. You can also do an investment summary and a summary of your investment return. If you go over to the Funding tab, you can add money to the Questrade account through online banking, or you can also request to transfer investments from other banks or other brokerages, and Questrade will reimburse you for those transfer fees. I'm going to save a walkthrough of all of these features for a later video. For now, I just want to show you guys how to buy stocks and ETFs using Questrade. So to do that, we're going to click on the green Trade button to take us to the trading platform. So it took me to the account page, and by default, it went to my RSP account, but for this tutorial, I want to work out of my TFSA account. At the left here, you can see all of my unrealized gains, and this means that if I were to sell all of my stocks at this moment, I would have made a profit of $630. But I'm not going to do that. All the stocks I own are stocks that I want to keep for the long run to accumulate those dividends. The most important thing I want to show you here is the cash amount. I have almost $20,000 invested in this TFSA account through Questrade, but I have $650 sitting there in cash. I never want to have too much cash sitting in my account because cash is not gaining me anything. In fact, this cash sitting here is losing value every single day because of inflation. Just yesterday, I transferred $600 from my checking account into Questrade, and the other $50 I got through dividends last week. So now I have $650 in cash ready to buy some stocks with. So this is the balances page where it shows you how much your total investment and how much cash you have. If you click on orders, you can see all the trades that have happened today, last week, or the past 3 months. And then positions is a list of all the holdings you have. So these are all the stocks and ETFs that I'm holding in this TFSA Questrade account. In my TFSA account, I only hold Canadian dividend-paying stocks and Canadian ETFs. I'm going to make a whole video about asset location, which basically means which kind of stocks and ETFs I put in a TFSA, which ones I put in an RSP, and which ones I put in a taxable account. But as a quick 10-second summary, my TFSA is only Canadian dividends and Canadian ETFs. For US dividends and US ETFs, I put those in an RSP. And I do that to save on US withholding taxes. So here's a list of all the stocks I currently own. Remember, I have $650 to spend. So if I want to buy more stocks of an existing holding, I could just click on it, like Enbridge for example, click on buy and sell, and it will take me to the panel to buy more stocks. But today, I'm going to buy something that I don't own. I'm going to invest in CIBC. I know that the CIBC ticker symbol is CM, but when I search CM, you see that at the top of the list, I get CIBC, but traded through the New York Stock Exchange. This is not the one I want. But I'll click on it anyway just to show you why. So, this is CIBC, the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, but it's traded under the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE. So, all of the numbers you see on this page are going to be in US dollars. I do not want to buy this CIBC stock in US dollars. I'm going to be paying a currency conversion fee to convert my Canadian dollars into US dollars. So that's a 2% fee that I lose. That's money down the drain. So instead, I'm going to select the CIBC stock through the Toronto Stock Exchange. So I do CM and then I do .TO to specify the TSX, the Toronto Stock Exchange. So now I click on it and you can see here, it's CIBC, the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, in the TSX, the Toronto Stock Exchange. And you'll see that the number here is a little higher. On the other one, it was $88. Here I'm seeing $110. That's because this is in Canadian dollars. A Canadian dollar is about 76 cents American. I'm not going to go over exactly why I'm buying this stock. I'll save that for a later video where I'll go over all the different metrics and historical trends I look at before I decide to buy a stock. But I've already decided to buy CIBC. But real quick, the CIBC stock is paying a dividend of 5.3% a year, paid out every quarter, so every 3 months. Another thing I want to point out is that in the past 5 days, there was a huge drop in the CIBC price. This is because last Thursday, CIBC released their quarterly earnings, and for this quarter, their profits were lower than expected. And so a lot of investors panicked and freaked out and sold their stock, and that's why the price dropped here. But I really don't care about the quarterly earnings. I'm invested in this company for 20, 30 years. I know that CIBC is going to bounce back in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to buy CIBC stock at this discounted price. And in fact, if I click on the 1 year timeline, you can see that every few months, CIBC has these regular drops, and CIBC always bounces back up within a few weeks. So, I've decided I'm going to buy the CIBC stock, but what exactly am I looking for? You can see a lot of numbers on this page. The two most important numbers I want to talk about are the bid price and the asking price. Remember, there is no inherent value in a stock. The value of a stock is only how much someone else is willing to buy it for. The bid price is how much a buyer is willing to pay for the stock, whereas the asking price is how much someone is willing to sell the stock for. Usually these two numbers are the same, but sometimes the asking price is a little higher by a few cents. So for all of my calculations, I'm going to use the asking price. So I'm going to click on this green buy and sell button. And now this takes me to this panel here. Again, I can see the bid price and the asking price. The first thing I want to bring your attention to is the order type. So there's two main types here: market orders and limit orders. I almost always use market orders. And what a market order means is I want to buy the stock instantaneously, right at this second. So I'm going to pay whatever the price is this very minute. And if I do a market order, the trade will execute immediately. But you can also do something called a limit order. A limit order means that I will set the maximum price that I am willing to buy the stock for. So you can see that the stock is currently selling for $109. But what if I think that the stock is going to keep going down in value and I don't want to pay any more than $105? So I set the limit price as $105. What I'm telling Questrade here is I want to buy this at $105. So the second that the value of this stock drops down to $105, execute the order and buy the stocks for me. But there's a risk. What if the price never goes down? But maybe the price does go down, but it only goes down to $106. Questrade will never execute this order until the price drops to $105 or below. I can set a few options for the duration. If I set the duration to 1 day, that means that if the price of the stock never drops to $105 or below by the end of the day, I want to cancel the whole order. Another option for duration is GTC, and that is good till cancel. And that means that I'm telling Questrade to keep trying to execute the order until I manually cancel it. The maximum amount of time that a GTC order can be held is 90 days. So if the price of CIBC stock doesn't drop down to 105 or below within 90 days, the order is automatically canceled. Another option is GTD, which is good till date. And that's just like GTC, except that you can specify the date at which the order is automatically canceled. I almost always recommend market orders versus limit orders, because when you do a market order, the trade is executed immediately. And there's no surprises. I know exactly what price I'm going to be buying the stock at, and as soon as I hit the buy button, the order will be filled. But with a limit order, sure, I may save a few dollars if the price goes down, but there's no guarantee of when or even if the order will be filled, because the price may never go down. And another important point, with stocks, you have to buy a whole number of shares. You can't buy fractions. So we have to do a little bit of a calculation to figure out how many whole number of shares of CIBC I can buy. So remember, I have about $650 in cash, but just to be confirmed, let's scroll down here and you can see my balances. You can see my buying power or my cash amount. So I can see here I have $649.90 in cash. But remember, I have to pay a $5 commission fee. So here's how the calculation goes. I bring up my calculator and I take this cash amount, which is $649.90, and I'm going to subtract $5 right off the bat because I know I have to pay commission right up front. So now that means I can buy a maximum amount of $644.90 of CIBC stock. Now I'm going to click this little circle here to refresh the price, and I can see right now at this very second, the asking price of CIBC is $109.22. But I have $644. So let's see how many stocks I can buy. So I'm going to take the amount of cash I have minus the commission fees, divide it by 109.22, and I can see I've got 5.9. I'm so close to buying 6 shares, but remember, you can't buy a fraction of a share. 5.9 shares is not 6 shares. I have to round down to 5 shares. So I'm going to buy 5 shares, and whatever money I have left remains as cash, and I can buy other things with that. So I can buy 5 shares, so I enter the quantity here, 5. And now I'm ready to buy. So let's confirm a few things. One, I'm buying CIBC.TO, which means it's a Toronto Stock Exchange. I'm good. I'm buying at a market price of $109.22. I'm buying 5 shares at market price, and I want to confirm which account. I want this to be in my TFSA account. So I click buy, and it brings me up to this confirmation page. I can see, let's confirm the details. So I'm buying 5 shares of CIBC at market price in my TFSA account. For 5 shares, that's gonna cost me $546 plus a commission of $4.97, but basically $5. And I'm gonna have $98.89 left over in cash. So now I'm ready. So let's click send order. And immediately you can see this pop up at the bottom right saying that my order was filled and I bought 5 shares. So to confirm that, let's click on Accounts and Orders. And now this shows me all of the orders I've executed today. I bought 5 stocks of CIBC, the order was filled immediately, and I bought it for a price of $109.22 a share. Now to confirm that I actually own these stocks, let's click on my positions, which shows me a list of all the stocks and ETFs I own. And now you can see at the bottom here, I now own 5 shares of CIBC. I bought it at a price of $109.22, and right now, the price went up by a cent. Now it's worth $109.23. So it shows me that I've made a profit of 5 cents. Again, this number doesn't mean anything. I really don't care about the daily fluctuations of a couple cents, a couple dollars. What I really care about is the long-term growth. There's 2 values here. The market value represents the real-time value of my stocks at this moment. So if I were to sell all of my CIBC stocks at this moment, I would get $546.10. The book value represents the price I bought it for. Since I just bought the stock, they're basically the same. But if I look at a stock that's grown a lot in value, for example, my Enbridge stock, I bought the Enbridge stock for $6,500, and the current market value is $7,097. So if I sold my Enbridge stock today, I would make a profit of almost $600, not including dividends. So there you go. I've now bought 5 shares of CIBC stock. So that's how I buy stocks on Questrade. But if you remember, I still have $98 of cash. What am I going to do with this cash? I don't want this cash just sitting there collecting dust. But at the same time, $100 is not enough to buy stocks with. Remember, if I were to buy $100 worth of stocks, I would have to pay a $5 commission fee. That's 5% of my investment down the drain. So, I only ever buy stocks with at least $500. So, I'm not going to buy stocks. But remember, one of the best things about Questrade is that you can buy ETFs commission-free. I pay $0 in commission when I buy an ETF. So, instead of having this $98 sitting there in cash, let's spend this $98 on ETFs. So we'll go in my positions. So let's look at some of the ETFs I own. I have this ETF, XIC.TO. This is a Canadian ETF which tracks the TSX Composite Index. So this ETF tracks the 250 largest Canadian companies. Companies like TD, CIBC, Royal Bank, Enbridge, all those. I also have this ZEG ETF. ZEG is a bond ETF, so it's basically a collection of a lot of Canadian bonds. So remember, I have $98 to buy, and the XIC currently costs $27 a share. So I can buy 3 shares of the XIC ETF, and that's what I'm going to do. With Questrade, buying ETFs and buying stocks are the exact same process. So as before, I'm going to search for the ticker symbol, which is XIC.TO. And I see the exact same information I did with stocks. I can see a different timeline of how the ETF price changes over weeks, months, and years. I can see the bid price, the asking price. It shows me the dividend yield, which is in this case is 2.8%, the dividend amount I get every quarter. This is one of my favorite ETFs. I'm definitely going to buy it, so I'm going to click buy as before. And again, I can do the same things. I can do a limit order, a market order, but I'm only going to do a market order in this case. Let's scroll down to see how much cash I have. So I have $98.84. So let's put that in my calculator. I've got $98.84. And remember, when I'm buying ETFs, I don't pay any commission, so I don't have to subtract $5. Now, I'm just going to refresh the price to see how much it's worth. At this very instant, XIC ETF costs $27.06. So let's divide by that price. Divide by 27.06. And you can see I can afford 3.6 ETFs. But again, with ETFs, I can't buy a fraction of a share. So I have to round down, so I can only afford 3 ETFs. So to confirm, I'm going to buy 3 ETFs of XIC at market price in my TFSA account. Again, clicking buy will bring me to the confirmation page. Let's confirm these amounts. I'm buying 3 shares of XIC at market price. It's going to cost me $81. And since I'm buying an ETF on Questrade, I don't pay any commission. And now I'll have $17.65 remaining. So now I'm going to click send order. And as before, I'm going to see a pop-up here showing that my order was filled. I bought 3 shares of XIC. And now let's confirm. Click on account and click on orders. And now you can see here, these are all the trades I've executed today. I bought 5 shares of CIBC and I bought 3 shares of the XIC ETF. And now if I go here, I can see that my number of shares have gone up by 3. Before, I only had 25 shares of XIC. Now I have 28. And now clicking on balances, let's see how much cash I have left. So now I have $17.65 left. That's not a lot of money, but still, I don't want to keep this money sitting here collecting dust. So let's see if I can buy an ETF with it. Luckily, I can afford to buy 1 share of ZEG. Right now, the price of ZEG, which is my bond ETF, is $15.92. So that's enough to buy 1 share. So let's search ZEG. So I can either search ZEG TO, or I can even just click it directly right here. I can click it and click buy and sell. Let's refresh the price, and let's do the same steps. So I'm going to confirm the cash I have. I have 1765, 17.65, and I'm going to divide by the price, 15.93. That's easy math. I know that I can only afford to buy 1. So I'm going to make quantity of 1, market price, in my TFSA account, click buy, and now let's confirm the details before I send the order. So I want to buy 1 share of the ZEG ETF at market price. That's going to cost me $15.93, and that means I'll have $1.71 in cash left. So click send order. Boom, I get the pop-up. The order was filled. I bought 1 share of the ZEG ETF, and now let's confirm again. Let's click on account and orders, and here I can see all of the orders I executed today. I bought 5 shares of CIBC, 3 shares of the XIC ETF, and 1 share of the ZEG ETF. Both of the ETFs didn't cost me anything in commission, and the CIBC only cost me $5 in commission. Now let's go back to my balances, and I can see I only have $1.70 left in cash. I can't do anything with this money, so I'm going to let this money sit there until my next paycheck, where I'll put more money in Questrade and buy some more stocks, or the next time I get a dividend, and then I can use the dividend money to buy more stocks. So there you have it. That's how you buy stocks and ETFs using Questrade. Different brokers will have a very similar process, but I definitely recommend Questrade because of their super low commission fees. Those fees really do add up over time. I'll be releasing more videos highlighting the other features you could do on Questrade. Plus, I'll also be doing reviews of other brokers. And again, if you'd like to get started with Questrade, click my referral link below and you'll get $50 of commission-free trades when you sign up. Plus, I'll get a small referral bonus. Thanks for watching, guys, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Every thumbs up and comment really helps me build this channel, and be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of my new videos every Thursday. And let me know in the comments below, do you use Questrade? And if not, what broker do you like? Be sure to tune into my next video, where I'll be starting a new series on tax strategies in Canada. In my next video, I'll be breaking down exactly how taxes work in Canada for income, businesses, and investing. And I'll go over a few tax saving strategies like TFSA and RRSP. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of The Canadian in a T-shirt. Bye guys.